In today's video, we are going to be talking about vitamin K2 and the many health benefits that this nutrient has. Let's get into it. Improving bone mineral density, reducing blood sugar, improving nerve function, peripheral nerve function, reducing arterial calcification, basically improving the elasticity of our arterial walls. And the fifth one we'll talk about, the fifth benefit of K2 is its immune boosting properties. It essentially has an anti-cancer benefit. So the first thing I want to look at with vitamin K2 is its bone mineral density enhancing properties. So how does it do this? So there's two main cells that work with bone tissue: osteoblasts, which build bone tissue, and osteoclasts, which resorb bone tissue. What vitamin K2 is essentially doing is it's activating osteoblast cells to produce something called osteocalcin. This osteocalcin that is produced by osteoblasts, which again is activated by vitamin K2, binds to calcium and takes that calcium and delivers it to the bone tissue and lays it down into the collagen matrix. So this is critically important. If this osteocalcin isn't activated, we don't get that mineral depositing into the bone tissue. So again, vitamin K2, critically important. It upregulates bone mineralization, but it also helps to suppress bone resorption. So it's important to know that it's affecting both osteoblasts and helping to build bone tissue, and it helps to downregulate osteoclasts, which those cells like to resorb calcium from bone tissue. The second benefit of vitamin K2 is something that's super important with cardiovascular disease, and that is this. Vitamin K2 helps to carboxylate something called MGP, matrix GLA protein. When MGP is carboxylated via vitamin K2, that protein inhibits calcium from depositing into our elastic smooth wall tissue. So vitamin K2 brings down calcification of our arterial walls. The third benefit of vitamin K2 is with diabetes. So with type 2 diabetics, they suffer with insulin resistance. Vitamin K2 can come in and do a couple of different things. First off, it can turn down NF-kappa B. Why this is so important is because NF-kappa B is like the master switch to inflammation. If we can reduce inflammation, we can improve insulin sensitivity. The other thing vitamin K2 does is it activates something called GSK3 beta. What that means is when GSK3 beta is activated, it upregulates expression of adiponectin. Adiponectin then in turn improves insulin sensitivity, and there in turn lowers our blood sugar. So vitamin K2 downregulates inflammation through NF-kappa B and upregulates expression of adiponectin through GSK3 beta. The other thing that vitamin K does, we talked about earlier with calcification, is it activates or carboxylates osteocalcin. When that is activated, osteocalcin has a benefit at reducing insulin sensitivity as well. Okay, so the fourth benefit of vitamin K2 is nerve protection. So this is my analogy. I do a lot of, we'll call it amateur electrical work in my house. And you've got the electrical wires, the copper wiring, but around that you've got, depends on what wiring you're using, a plastic sheath around that copper wiring to obviously help to insulate the electrical current through the copper wiring. Our nervous system has a very similar system. It's called the myelin sheath. When that myelin sheath breaks down, we get all kinds of symptoms: pins and needles, intolerances to temperatures, pain. So peripheral neuropathy especially, so nerve damage in hands and feet occurs a lot in diabetic patients, which we just talked about how K2 helps with lowering blood sugar. Vitamin K2, going back to carboxylation, it can carboxylate something, let me get this right, something called GAS6 protein. When that's carboxylated, that protein will put that myelin sheath or that protective layer back around the copper wiring so that it doesn't basically short fuse out, is the way I think of it. Vitamin K2 has this neuro anti-inflammatory effect by downregulating gene expression. It downregulates gene expression of TNF-alpha and IL-1 beta in monocytes that are related to the nervous system. So when we get that anti-inflammatory effect through vitamin K2, the surrounding area on those nerves is more apt, it's more set up essentially to repair itself. There's a lot less inflammation and chaos going around in the nervous system, especially around that myelin sheath, so that those proteins can come back in and repair around the electrical conductivity of our nervous system. The last benefit of vitamin K2 that I want to share with you is its effects on anti-cancer. So vitamin K2 exerts its effect on various cell lines such as leukemia, hepatocellular carcinoma, lung cancer, ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, and colorectal cancer. So there is something called the mitogen activated protein kinase. When that is induced, you get mitochondrial death of that cancer cell, or apoptosis. When you get mitochondrial death, you get death of the cancerous cell. So again, vitamin K2 induces MAPK, mitogen activated protein kinase. This in turn essentially turns off that cell. So vitamin K2 comes in two main forms from a supplement side. We got MK4, which is more food-based, and we have MK7, which is made by bacteria. I strongly encourage you, if you're going to supplement with vitamin K2, to get the MK7 version. MK7 has essentially what's called a longer tail, which takes it about 3 days for the body to metabolize it out of the system. With that longer half-life, MK7 can stick around and have its positive effects on the body. So when we're looking at dosing for MK7, there's a lot of different variation out there. I encourage you to talk to your doctor. Some studies will look at something between 50 and 100 micrograms, where other studies have shown up to 200 micrograms to be beneficial. So talk with your provider about proper dosing. Obviously, each individual patient is going to have their own set of unique circumstances, and we need to tailor the dosing to the patient and to your specific issues that you're dealing with. I hope you found value in today's video. I encourage you to share this video with a loved one. On Tuesday, coming up on October 24th, I'm going to be sharing more information not only on vitamin K2, but on vitamin D3 and how those two nutrients, how those vitamins play a critical role in bone health. I hope to see you there. Have a great weekend, and we will talk soon.